Hello, possums. I'm actually here 2 days early because there was just so much in the last day of good news. That's a foreign experience, isn't it? Like EJ Carroll's result. Brilliant. He can appeal if he wants, but it's going to cost him more money and he's not going to get anywhere. And the bliss of George Santos being arrested. 13 charges. I think they're federal. I haven't had time to read the fine print yet. The thrill, the thrill. Yeah. And in other good news, I think it's something to hold on to. An army sergeant who fatally shot a Black Lives Matter protester got 25 years in Texas. Given that it was Texas, it could have, disappeared as a case. So for entertainment purposes only, that last comment, YouTube. Okay. So it's such a foreign experience having this good news one after the other. Now, our new Elliot Ness, Jack Smith, he's got big interviews coming up tomorrow. I'm going to have a look at that first. Oh, sorry about the car horns. You don't come to Buenos Aires for serenity, peace and quiet. No. It's quite normal. You go out at midnight, party, whatever. So I'm coming to you, having been out to an amazing tango event last night. And I'm very blessed. I'm not getting tourist Buenos Aires. I'm with locals. And these were young contemporary tango musicians that were just sublime. Okay. I've already forgotten. What am I reading on? I'll have to move on from that because it's completely flown out of my brain, but there's more to cover. Now, Clarence Thomas must be feeling the pressure now. And I picked up that Ginny Thomas is starting to get a bit crazy as well. And then someone said, one of the other readers has said that as well. So he's one bit of the story, but she's the other bit, So will he resign? Let's have a look. Will he resign under this pressure? Will he resign? Will he resign? Okay. Oh, I just remembered it was Jack Smith. We'll come back to him. So, Clarence Thomas. Those of us who are old enough to remember the Anita Hill saga, remember? He got away with all of that and she was so brave. So, oh, my cards are upside down. Let's see what's going to happen to Clarence Thomas. Will he resign? Oh, okay. I think there's a very good chance. Now, here we go. At this point, he's still defensive. He's not actually speaking, but he is in defense mode. That would mean he'd be getting the lawyers ready to go if it comes to anything like that. But he's still defending his indefensible position because he's like that. But here we go. Here we go. You want to stay there, you are going to get hit from all sides. Boom, 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 balaka, boom. Sorry, pet, when you took all this money and didn't report it, including, I digress, Harlan Crow, who's refusing to cooperate by handing over gift orders or whatever it is he's supposed to do, paid for Clarence Thomas's great nephew's private tuition. Like, these are rich people in their own right. Why couldn't he pay the grandnephew's private tuition? They always get so greedy. Anyway, this is fool's gold. He convinced, and a bit like Trump, in his own way, he's been the Teflon justice, hasn't he? He's been the emperor in all this. But I think with this, it's not going to stop because these people do so much offending. Once someone's on their case, they can always find more. And that's who I'll do after Jack Smith, Sheldon Whitehouse. He's been great, hasn't he? He's been dedicated to looking at Supreme Court corruption. He's done a fabulous job. But the point is, who will do anything about it? That's the real question. But look, now I'm jumping around because I'm so excited. Okay, get it together, Lena. All right, Jack Smith, our very own Elliot Ness, has some big cases coming up Thursday, which I think is tomorrow, but I'm really only guessing. Thursday, the Calamaris. Have you noticed Michael Cohen takes great delight in the Calamaris? There's a Calamari Senior and a Calamari Junior who worked for the Yeti, and they're on the list apparently for Thursday, along with other Mar-a-Lago security people. They've got a few stories. Okay. So Thursday, investigation, Jack Smith, that's where we're at. And don't forget, because this is such a sprawling investigation, it might not be Jack Smith himself, but his team. Queen of Swords, I'm thrilled to see that. Okay. Love a Queen of Swords, even if it isn't Lindsey Graham. Here, it is a judicial figure. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't even have to go any further with fifth card here. What they'll be talking about and being questioned on is the theft. I think this could be referring to theft of documents, but it could also be the whole drama around pushing the line, conceiving the way to talk about the election being stolen. I think it's more that vibe in this card. And they worked closely with the Yeti, Two of Cups. This is not going to come out well. Their testimony, I think, will be very important. It's not going to be good for either of the Calamaris themselves, but look, the trampling of the Yeti. It's fabulous. So Jack Smith is getting closer and closer and closer, and he's got a bit of momentum happening here. Look. Things are turning. You can feel it, can't you? You can really feel it. It's exciting. Okay, so we've done the Calamaris. Let's have a look at Sheldon Whitehouse, because he's just stuck to his guns. I'd like to see him as a VP, I've been saying for years, might not be popular, but my feel is Kamala Harris, there's issues with Kamala, offer her a big legal job and take on another VP for 2024. But I'm just a humble tarot reader from Australia. So I would like to see Eric Swalwell. Okay, Sheldon Whitehouse on corruption of the Supreme Court. Will it go anywhere? He's done the due diligence. It's whether it'll go anywhere. Will his work have an impact down the road? Will his work have an impact? Okay, we're off and running. Out in the cold. Oh, these are cards that must have been sudden. No. She mutters here. All right, the cards start off in a not very fun way, not very positive at all. Fives are difficult. If you're learning tarot, the minor arcana goes from 2 to 10. Fives are really gnarly, So he's a bit on his own out in the cold here. There's so much else going on, even with the Supreme Court. It's not time yet, is what this reading is saying, but hold on to your hat. Right. You know, these loss, this is, I think, loss in the sense of loss of prestige and trust in the Supreme Court. But the next cards are much more interesting. Celebration, the Three of Pentacles, cooperative work, and the World, which is looking at the big picture. The World card is about endings and beginnings. So because tarot is really difficult with timing, I'm going to say post-2024 election, when hopefully the Dems come through. This is when the big things can be done, when they've got a mandate from a decent number of thinking, caring Americans. So the World card, his work isn't in vain. And of course, I think the Democratic Supreme Court justices won't stand in the way. And so I think they realize now, even if they didn't before, this needs to happen. So I am saying long-term victory for Sheldon, not in the next 5 minutes. No. Okay. So what have we got here? I had another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah. What? Let's see. Let's just have a look at Harlan Crow. Because I think this story, it's not the only story, of course, about corruption, not just the Supreme Court, but for all lawmakers. My question as a sociologist is, where does a donation become bribery? Okay. Remember back in the old days, it was called lobbying because you were lobbying for influence. Now, look at Mansion, look at cinema. It was obviously they were bought off. So there's that tipping point when donations become out and out bribery for that vote. So what's my question? I think let's have a look down the road. Dare to struggle, dare to dream. Will there be at some point in our lifetimes, but no, I'm going to put a 5-year thing on it because it's big business. So within 5 years, will there be a massive clearing out and clearing up of what is a political donation, from who to who, how much, what does it represent? Let's have a look at that issue because I think it's really important. You know, donations becoming bribery. And it's not just America. The same things happened in Australia, the UK, Canada, everywhere, I'm sure. You know, the donations have become gigantuan. And so if you can buy and sell politicians, it's no longer a healthy democracy. And I say that about my own country and everything else. I'm sorry, you know, like, no, it isn't healthy. In our case, the coal industry or whatever, you know, they give big donations and then we, the taxpayer, subsidize the coal industry who's supposed to pay tax, but then doesn't because of the subsidy. You know, like the amounts of money are ridiculous. So this is a global problem. Let's have a look at cleaning up. I'm going to even broaden it out more, the cleaning up of democracy. And then in another video, I might do a big Celtic cross. I haven't done one of those for years on this, but this is a little taster for today. Can you hear that? Yes, darling, you've got a horn, we know. Okay, democracy. It's hardcore. I love it. Okay. What's happening with doing? Oh, a lot of work ahead. All right. So what we've got here, it tells the story. It's funny. I don't know what other readers think about this, but for me in tarot, sometimes you ask a question and the cards say, well, you can't really ask the question until you look at all this. It's a bit like that. So in a way, it's laying out what's wrong. Okay. And there's plenty wrong. Okay. So first of all, the Ten of Pentacles. This is big money, big power, legacy money. It's intergenerational money. In personal readings, it can be the inheritance card. But in this case, it's big bicky circulating. Then we have 2 nines. Living the comfortable life, that's the bought-off politician, seduced by the money. This is the 9 of Cups, traditionally the smug merchant. But here's the thing. Cups are about emotion, usually, right? But I always see this as a Pentacles card. And I would describe it even as much as a transition card from Cups to Pentacles. This guy's made a lot of money. He too is enjoying the good life, but he's not finished making money, you know. So there's that thing. In other words, we've got a ways to go yet. But the process is starting. I think people are sick of it. I don't think you have to be devoted to hardcore politics and fine print information to know in any country that this goes on. I think people know it goes on. So this is about looking at it, evaluating how the system works and why it's no longer working as it was intended back in the day. Because there used to be donations and that'd pay for TV ads and things like. No, now they're buying the people. I suspect they always did in a way, but it's become so crude and obvious with the mansions and the cinemas that, you know, here we go. It has to reach a point of breakdown. It has to reach a point where someone says, no more, no more. We have to change this up. And it will come a point, this is in the future position. Okay? Along with all that other big work that needs to be done post 2024. And the last card, when I was a young thing in the 70s, we'd pull the Hierophant and we'd go, oh, yuck, the Hierophant, law and order, religion. Ooh, yeah. Now it's like, oh, thank God the Hierophant's here. Oh, thank God. So I think this is the positive incarnation of the Hierophant. This is the White House, meaning the politics, courtroom, churches, whatever, pulling in the same direction for social good. For social good. Oh, I just had a thought. That might mean, you know how in every country the church doesn't pay tax. Now, that's because they were supposed to be giving donations to the poor and, you know, feeding hungry children and doing all those noble things. I'd like to see a system where churches don't pay tax, maybe smaller churches, until X, maybe $10 million, or I'm not the one to decide that figure. But I'm thinking of the big Pentecostal churches. Give me money because I've got a hotline to Jesus churches, right? When it's over more than a few million, should be taxed. Wouldn't that be a revenue earner? Yeah. Well, there you go, my darlings. I've got to catch up on a power nap because going out tonight at God knows when I'll need it. So lots of love. I'll see you soon and enjoy the celebrations. Oh, one more thing before I go. I'm happy if I'm wrong. You know, I often say that, and I'm hoping the news on Hunter Biden is that the case is on the brink of collapse. And we know they had tainted evidence in the laptop. Too many people handled it, right? You know, we know that. So that case might collapse. My cards for him weren't marvelous. So let's hope I was wrong. A rare event, but let's hope. Okay. Love you guys. See you soon.